Good afternoon and welcome to St. Newsfile. I'm Megan Brennan. Troy Durrell will have sports coming up, but first let's check in with Katie Baines with the weather.
Hi, Megan.
New rules for flying recreational drones in Canada have been announced. Federal Minister of Transport Marc Garneau is imposing new restriction on all recreational drone users in Canada. Garneau says the new measures are meant to curb the number of near misses between drones and commercial aircrafts, which have been more than tripled from 2014 to 2016. Under the new restrictions, recreational drone pilots are prohibited from flying their UAVs higher than 90 meters, within 75 meters of buildings, animals, or people, or within 9 kilometers of an airport. Night flights are also prohibited under the new restrictions, which promises a fine of up to $3,000. Transport Canada has released a cheat sheet for drone users to find out what they are doing is within the law. The new regulations could make it difficult for amateur drone pilots to fly their aircraft in populated areas.
Limiting the distance you can fly in terms of height and distance, and not only that, the time of day. You're not allowed to fly at night anymore, which means you're limited only to a few hours of the day, which can really be tough in a big city like the one that we're in.
The new measures do not apply to commercial drone pilots and are in effect immediately. This Friday marks Thank Your Driver Day. Thank Your Driver Day recognizes the hardworking bus and C-train operators. Every weekday, more than 500,000 Calgarians get around the city with the help of Calgary Transit bus, C-train, shuttle, and access drivers. Thank Your Driver Day is traditionally celebrated on March 18th because on that day in 1662, bus service debuted in Paris with horse-drawn vehicles. It's easy to show your appreciation by greeting your driver with a smile and a wave. You can also share your thanks on Twitter or Instagram, tagging @Calgary Transit and using the hashtag ThanksCT. Those are today's top stories. We'll have our full forecast for you after the break, but first, Katie Baines has a look at what's going on around Calgary this week. 100 years ago, the Battle of Vimy Ridge and Passchendaele played pivotal roles in deciding the outcome of World War I, along with a little-known victory called Hill 70. On August 15, 1917, roughly 4 months after the Battle of Vimy Ridge during World War I, Canadian soldiers successfully assaulted a position known as Hill 70 near the town of Lens, France. The capture of Hill 70 in France was the first major action fought by the Canadian Corps under a Canadian commander in the First World War. Yet, the story of the battle is rarely told, and most Canadians have likely never heard of it. A project called the Hill 70 Project is launching a series of initiatives to increase public awareness of the battle that includes educational kits for students and teachers as well as a series of books. The hope is that Canada's forgotten victory will be forgotten no more. Those are today's top stories. We'll have the men's basketball team is not the only champions on campus. The indoor track team earned 11 medals at the ACAC Indoor Track Championship in Lethbridge. The 11 medals smashes the previous school record of 6 set just last season. And not only that, it helped the men's team earn their first team gold medal. Helping them towards the win, we had Alex Howells captured gold in the 3,000-meter event, a gold in the 1,500-meter, and bronze in the 4x400-meter relay with teammates Karg, Saru, and Saman. Merhawi Saru also took bronze in the 1,500-meter, and Ricky Dowell ran to her second silver medal in 2 days during the 1,500-meter. The Trojans men's hockey team is on a hunt for gold after their sweep of the Concordia University of Edmonton Thunder last weekend. It was the team's resilience they practice every day that kept the boys engaged, and Captain Dean Allison's leadership and skill that led him to scoring the OT winner. The Trojans came back from a 3-1 goal deficit to beat Concordia 4-3 in overtime during the quarterfinal best-of-3 series. The win is a step in the right direction for SAIT, who were bounced in the quarterfinals last season by the Red Deer College Kings, and the Trojans will now move on to the ACAC best-of-3 semifinal against the MacEwan University Griffins on Friday right here at SAIT. The SAIT Trojans women's hockey team have found themselves in a do-or-die playoff situation after falling 2-0 in the best-of-5 series against the Grant MacEwan University Griffins Sunday night. Practice is now their best friend as the team gets back to work. The Trojans found themselves in the semifinal series after an upset win, beating out the first place Nate Oakes. The women are hoping to bring back some of that momentum for Game 3.
I think to get our momentum up, it's do or die on Friday night in their home rink. So I think that just tells it all. We don't want to die that night, so we got to win 3 games in a row to win it all. So I think that's motivation enough to get the girls going and get ready to go.
Game 3 of the semifinal series will be played Friday night back in Edmonton, so the Trojans have a few days to collect themselves and figure out a way to extend the series. So that's sports.
Well, Megan, I really hope there's a big comeback in store for the women's hockey team.
Yeah, it would be nice to get a few more medals here at state, but we'll have to see this weekend.
Guess we will.
Pick up with Megan Brennan with the weather.
Hi, Matt and Ivan. So it was a beautiful morning and early afternoon. The clouds have rolled in a little bit, bringing with it some cooler winds. We are off from our record high in 1889, which was 20 degrees, and even last year it was 19. We're only at 11, so pretty far off from that. But overall, it's pretty seasonal for this time of year, and I'll get into that a little bit later on.
Thanks, Megan. We'll have your full forecast for you after the break, but first, Megan Brennan has a look at what's going on around Calgary this week.
Kick off spring with a Grow and Learn square foot gardening and seed starting gardening classes and seminars. The event is aimed at both beginner and experienced gardeners. For more information, visit poppyinnovations.ca. Cater to your artistic side and do some good at the same time at this Paint Night fundraiser hosted by the Calgary Neuropathy Association. For more information or to buy your tickets, visit paintnight.com. See what Calgary's up-and-coming young artists have produced during the school year at the ACAD Spring Show and Sale. Browse through handmade pieces and admire the student body's talent. Market Collective returns to the Chinese Cultural Center for the 3 days at the end of the month. There will be 8 artists that have never sold their products at the market. Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, introduces the launching of a new regular music program. For more information, visit studiobell.ca.
But first, let's check up with Megan Brennan with the weather.
Hi, Ivan and Matt. So it's beautiful out today. We're sitting at 14 degrees. It doesn't look that great where I am just because I am in the shade, but trust me, it's sunny behind me. We did beat last year's high of 9 degrees, and we were just slightly off of the record high in 1926, which was 20 degrees. It looks like one of the Great Lakes has now joined St. Campus behind me. That's just because the weather's been so nice and it's been melting. Behind that is some more green grass, so that really shows that spring has sprung, but I'll see if that keeps up in the next week.
Okay, Matt, tell me what's
I'm
going
back inside, but I still kind of wish I was outside, but that could just be for Calgary. Let's take a look at the West Coast. So Vancouver had some rain today, which isn't unusual for them. It is cloudy, but they are in the pluses. As we move along, there are a few clouds throughout the country. Edmonton is at 6. Regina is one of the only sunny spots, but they are at -4, so you kind of got to give and take there. Winnipeg is -11, which is one of the colder spots in Canada. And as we move towards Toronto, they have some sun at 2. Montreal has -6, and as we move towards the east, Halifax is at -2. St. John's is at 0, and again, there's still clouds. There's only actually 3 places that really has a lot of sun, and that isn't actually just for Canada. The resorts aren't that sunny either, so we'll take a look at that right now. So in Calgary today, it is 16 degrees, that record high that I mentioned earlier. Mix of sun and clouds, which we're seeing a little bit more clouds right now. The 4-kilometer wind is hitting us a little bit harder, so there is a little bit of a breeze that's bringing in the cold air. Tonight it's just going to get a little bit cloudy, but shouldn't get too cold. So let's look at the Alberta map now. So again, there's clouds across the map. There's only one place, and that's us, the lucky us with the sun. So Fort McMurray's at 1, still in the positives, but as you head to Grand Prairie, it is -1, so they're still not doing that great. Edmonton is at 6, Red Deer's at 9, so they're staying pretty close in temperature. The clouds continue when we head into Banff, but it is 7 degrees. Then there's us, the lucky ones, at 16. Medicine Hat is at 6, and Lethbridge is also at 6. So the cloud coverage isn't really going to go away, and it was a nice little break from all that snow, but it still isn't the nicest that we've seen. I hope that Calgary will get into a little bit better temperatures and keep this temperature, but let's see what the 5-day forecast and see if the sun stays. So as you can see, the clouds do continue a little bit, but we do still have some sun. Tomorrow will be a high of 12, low of 1, and heading to the weekend, there's a low of -5.